Good evening, America, and anyone who might be listening to this from abroad. It's Monday, August 4th, 2025, and welcome to the daily happenings inside our federal machine. This is Spathon, and it's time to plunge into the swamp. All eyes are on Texas. Governor Greg Abbott orders Texas DPS, the Department of Public Safety, to immediately arrest every House Democrat and bring them back to the Capitol. Also, happy 235th birthday to the Coast Guard. They've been protecting American waters since the year 1790. Also, the Congressional Budget Office estimates that debt service costs are going to be increasing by $718 billion over the next decade, so that's lovely. Millions of Brazilian citizens are protesting against members of the Brazilian Supreme Court after the U.S. issued sanctions against their justices. The Senate just passed a resolution to designate August 21st as National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is looking for 50,000 new recruits, but they've already received 78,000 applicants. And also, President Trump is about to significantly raise tariffs against India due to their purchasing and reselling of Russian oil. And also, Brazil, they're about to be slapped with a heavy tariff beginning on August the 6th. And there's plenty more to dig through, so we'll just dive right in. But first, if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. And I just might read your comment on the next episode if you decide to drop one. So we're just going to start right here, man, with Governor Greg Abbott just issued an hour ago, or posted an hour ago, rather. Texas House Democrats abandoned their duty and are holding flood relief and property tax cuts hostage. I ordered Texas DPS to arrest and return every derelict House Democrat to the Texas Capitol. This order will remain in effect until all missing Democrats are accounted for. So let's read this real quick. I know it's a little small. I can't really make it bigger because this is on X. After all, it doesn't allow me to make pictures much bigger or images. Anyway, so Governor Abbott orders Texas Department of Public Safety to arrest delinquent House Democrats. Governor Greg Abbott today ordered the arrest. I know, we just said that, and for some reason they put it on there twice. House Democrats, Texas House Democrats, they abandoned their duty to Texans, said Governor Abbott, by fleeing the state. Texas House Democrats are holding hostage critical legislation to aid flood victims and advance property tax relief. There are consequences for dereliction of duty. Speaker Dustin Burrows just issued a call of the Texas House and issued warrants to compel members to return to the chamber. To ensure compliance, I ordered the Texas Department of Public Safety to locate, arrest, and return to the House chamber any member who has abandoned their duty to Texans. This order will remain in effect until all missing Democrat House members are accounted for and brought to the Texas Capitol. Man, dude, Democrats, I don't know what the fuck they're thinking, man. Their approval ratings are completely in the toilet, and I'm sure that applies to the state-level Democrats, even the local-level ones. I mean, they're just not looking good on any front whatsoever. So they're obstructing the state of Texas. They're also obstructing the Senate, obviously, with Trump's nominations of just his civilian nominations. I mean, we're not talking his cabinet or anything. We're just talking just your rank-and-file appointees across the federal government, and they're obstructing every fucking one of them. And the same is going for Texas. I mean, I don't live in Texas. I live in Florida, so I'm kind of far away from Texas. I mean, I can go like a mile to the beach from where I live, and I can look off to the west, and Texas is over that way somewhere. But I don't really have close ties with Texas other than that, which is like pretty much not at all. So I don't know the inner workings of what's going on there. So I don't know if I should. Right here, you know what? Let me just start by doing this. I thought about just looking this up real quick just to see. But maybe they're just obstructing because they're just being fucking Democrats. Maybe that's just the whole point. Maybe they're just like, well, you big bad Republicans, we hate you now, so we're just not going to let you do really much of anything. But anyway, so typical race baiting. All right. What are the three absent House Republicans? What are their excuses? Oh, that's actually pretty interesting. What about them? Are there absent House Republicans that are fucking around too? Probably. I mean, otherwise, I don't think they would have said that, but the U.S. Democratic Party is a domestic terrorist organization. That is not my words. Look on the screen if you're only listening to this. That is not my words. I'm just reading comments here. Let's see. Texas House Democrats are about to learn a hard lesson. It's about time. Yeah. I mean, yes, they will be arrested. I'm sure they will be handcuffed. Of course, they'll be handcuffed in the front because they're a bunch of pansies. They can't handle handcuffs behind them. especially since we have cameras and we have journalists and, of course, they're all left-wing too, so we got them to worry about. I mean, God forbid you handcuff them from the back. They're going to be accused of the evil Texas Republicans of horrifically torturing them on the way to the freaking chambers or some shit. I can only imagine, and I can only see the headlines. You can pretty much imagine any kind of hyperbolic language you can think of, and I'm sure it'll probably be twice as worse as that. Anyway, arrest them all. This is what real leadership looks like. Governor Tim Walz. Yeah, there you go. Lock them up. Let's fucking go. I'll take things that aren't going to happen for 1,000, Alex. I mean, he did issue it, didn't he? He said he issued arrest warrants, didn't he? I mean, once the governor signs it, it's good to go, man. They go, they hunt down, they arrest, and they bring back. It sounds a lot worse than it is. They're probably not going to be yanked out of the car. I doubt that there's going to be Democrats in high-speed police chases. I seriously doubt that it's going to be as insane as it might sound. They'll probably may not even be handcuffed. They'll probably just be apprehended. Probably won't even lay a finger on them. They'll probably just make contact with them and say, nope, you got to get in the car. And then we're going back to the Capitol. And it'll probably just be as simple as that. Now, the question is once they're brought back into the chambers, are they going to start throwing big baby temper tantrums once they're there? Start crying and throwing bullshit slogans? I don't know. Immigrants are real people too. Black lives matter. Everybody lives matter. No, yeah, that's right. They don't like that one. They don't like all lives matter, do they? Not a big fan of that one for some weird reason. Liar, you're trying to cheat because you know that Republicans will lose if you don't. It's disgusting. All right, well, we got both sides screaming about it. This is absolutely disgusting. These Democrats should never, ever be allowed to serve again in the House. They've been engaged in sedition. They must be jailed. I mean, dude, I don't know if he threw that out with withholding the flood money. I'm assuming he's not, but I've seen political moves like that before, them politicizing things like that, and this is not something to politicize, man. Like, a lot of people died from it. A lot of people are in like disaster relief mode right now. And it's an absolute disastrous situation. So I would be really surprised if Governor Abbott is politicizing that. I'm sure that's exactly why he wants them there. He wants them there so they can vote on this, so they can release some money and finally get some relief to people. Are these Democrats obstructing just simply because these are just not blue areas that were hit? I mean, again, I don't live in Texas. I'm scrolling through the comments here so you can read them for yourself. As I look through a few of them myself. You're a crook and embarrassment to the state of Texas, huh? Trump lied tracker. Oh, yeah? Yeah, that's right. It had something to do with gerrymandering, too, didn't it? They voted for a bill that would have banned all gerrymandering. Every Republican opposed this. Republicans want a rigged system. No, I don't think that's the case. I think what's really the problem is the fact that they let in millions of illegal immigrants, and Democrats are trying to capitalize on that by gaining congressional seats in Congress. That's what they're really trying to do. That's what they're trying to do. Because our fucked up system, long time ago, it decided to include all people, not just American citizens, but all people who are here. So what does that mean? Does that mean that I don't know how many tourists are averaged in the state of Florida on a regular basis? Like, I would say probably 1 million, maybe. Here, let me just check. I'm just curious. How many? On any given day, just any day of the year, 350 to 400,000. That is half of a congressional seat. So technically, here in Florida, we can say, because they're here, I don't care if they're tourists or not. Illegal immigrants, they might as well be tourists. So in the state of Florida, we got about 400,000 tourists here on a daily basis at any given time. 350 to 400,000 tourists. So you can take that number and add it to Florida's population. Now, I get that they're scattered throughout the state. You would have to get really complex and technical if you really want to start applying that to congressional seats. But I don't know. I'm just making a point here. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, hopefully they'll round them up. They'll get them all arrested. I'm going to make a note to self to bring this up tomorrow to see what ends up happening. If you don't pay attention to the news throughout the day, if you just happen to listen to this video and you're not catching political news or anything, and I don't want to leave you hanging, because I'm honestly curious to find out exactly what's going to happen too. Let's see here. Breaking. Texas House has passed a motion to issue arrest warrants for Democrats who fled the state to avoid voting on redistricting map. Do you support arresting these Democrat lawmakers? Yeah, if they're obstructing, fuck yeah, I do. I think all of them should be. Dude, they They made an oath to the Constitution, and I'm sure they made some form of an oath to their constituency that they swore that they're going to serve their constituents, the people that voted for them. I mean, what the hell are they fucking doing? I mean, obviously, it's lawful that they're being placed under arrest. They're obstructing to the point where an arrest warrant is warranted. So that's happening. But anyway, let's check this out. Ding, ding.
In 6 days, the motion prevails. The Sergeant at Arms and any officers appointed by her are directed to send for all absentees whose attendance is not excused for the purposes of securing and maintaining their attendance under warrant of arrest if necessary until further order of the House.
Alrighty then. Well, and according to the governor's X account, there has been a warrant issued, and they are. Look at this. You want to arrest Democrats for doing the jobs. They're standing up to gerrymandering. Well, whatever, dude. Okay. So, yeah, he did order them to arrest and return them. So, it's a done deal. They have been ordered to be placed under arrest. And under arrest, they will be placed. So, pretty hot, man. Pretty crazy. So, we'll have to see what goes on with that. Okay, well, if I didn't have so much to get into, I would have actually spent a little bit more time digging into that, but I've got like 40 different things to get through, so I'm hoping to get this done like within an hour and a half, maybe. So I have to try to restrain myself from looking up too much stuff, because I really enjoy looking stuff up. If you've seen the last few episodes I've done, you probably kind of noticed that I do that. I like to Google shit. I like to use Grok sometimes. I like to get to the bottom of some things that I don't understand, and what better place to do it than while I'm actually sitting here looking at it. All right, so anyway, this comes from the Conservative Brief. Reports indicate Texas House Democrats will... Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, yeah, we're still on this. Okay, so reports indicate Texas House Democrats will not be returning by the 3 p.m. deadline given by Governor Greg Abbott to vote on redistricting. They now face possible felony charges and removal from office by the governor. This is a developing story. So all it sounds like is that Democrats are... It sounds like they're going to lose, I don't know about seats. It sounds like they're going to lose overall. I'll just keep it as simple as that. In the whole redistricting process, it just sounds like that Democrats are going to lose ground and Republicans are going to gain ground, and they're throwing this big giant tizzy hissy fit, big old giant temper tantrum because they just cannot have their way, because this is what Democrats do. They're like fucking spoiled babies. All right, anyway, let's check this out.
Democrats will not be returning to their home state, despite Governor Abbott's warning that they could face removal from office if they are not back by 4
fled the whole fucking
Eastern
state
time today. Instead, they just announced a press conference at 7 p.m. And where are they?
Matter of fact, this sounds familiar, dude. Didn't this just happen a couple of years ago? I don't know if it was in Texas, but this sounds oddly familiar. This sounds like something Democrats did sometime in the last couple of years where they just left a state and then arrest warrants were issued and they just stayed out of the state for a period of days or whatever. And then they eventually, I guess, one by one came back or something like that. I don't know. It kind of fell out of the mainstream news, I think. Either that or I just completely lost interest.
Warrenville, Illinois is where those Texas representatives will be speaking from, just about an hour outside of Chicago.
Oh, they're in
this
Illinois.
Evening around 7 o'clock.
Well, let's get drunk to get them
They've been
arrested.
in other states. They're protesting this GOP effort to redraw the congressional map. We know that both sides, Republicans and Democrats, are pretty good at getting very creative in carving out these lines.
Of course they are.
The Texas governor feels this is a legitimate move. The president supports it as well. We'll see where this whole thing goes. We'll be watching.
Look, anybody who's living in Texas and you're still voting for Democrats, what the fuck's wrong with you? Have you absolutely completely lost your mind? Or are you working 80 hours a week and you got like 4 kids to take care of and you don't have a single second to pay attention to what's going on and you've just been habitually just voting Democrat for the last 20 years without having a clue what's actually happening around you? I don't know, but it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, but people do though. I mean, people do. They just vote blue no matter who. All right, so let's go next to the USCBO. The CBO estimates that Public Law 119-21 will raise debt service costs by $718 billion over the 25 to 34 period and increase the cumulative effect on the deficit to $4.1 trillion. And this is on cbo.gov. And that's the Congressional Budget Office, by the way. I'll just read the brief summary. There is actually quite a bit on here, so I'll just keep it brief. But CBO responds to a request from Senator Merkley for information about how federal deficits and debt held by the public would be affected by Public Law 119-21, an act to provide for reconciliation pursuant to Title II of H. Con. Res. 14, and then additionally by making permanent 10 tax provisions that are temporary in that law. CBO and the staff of the Joint Committee on Taxation estimate that over the 25 to 34 period, they make the larger deficits will increase by $3.4 trillion for the legislation as enacted, excluding any macroeconomic or debt service efforts. So it's most likely going to go way up higher than that. But anyway, I will leave that linked in the description below. I link everything. Anything that I open up in my tabs, I drop it in the description. That leads to any web pages, things like that. I mean, I can't link Grok, or my Google searches necessarily, but everything else I link. All right, so let's move on to the Department of Justice. U.S. Department of Justice. Former NFL player has been convicted of operating large-scale dogfighting and trafficking venture in Oklahoma. Quote, this criminal profited off of the misery of innocent animals, and he will face severe consequences for his vile crimes, end quote, said AG Pam Bondi. This case underscores the Department of Justice's commitment to protecting animals from abuse. 190 dogs are now safe thanks to outstanding collaborative work by our attorneys and law enforcement components. This is crazy. So who the hell did this, man? Like who the hell was responsible for this? NFL player. Oh, here we go. LaShawn Eugene Johnson, age 54, of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Oh, hell, I'm trying to think of... Dude, I am so bad at sports. I'm really bad at sports. I'm trying to remember that dude from, like, back in the 2000s when he was doing that dogfighting shit. He was the quarterback for... oh, my God, dude. Was it the Eagles? Oh, fuck. I can't remember. I know who it was. I know his name. It's right on the tip of my tongue, damn it. Oh my God, dude. What the hell? What the fuck? Vic, right? Vic, Michael Vick. That's what it was. Damn it. It was right on the tip of my tongue as I was loading. All right. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. Michael fucking Vick. That's what that reminded me of. All right. Anyway, so multi-day trial. Federal jury in Oklahoma last week convicted him on 6 felony counts of violating the Federal Animal Welfare Act's prohibitions against possessing, selling, transporting, and delivering animals to be used in fighting ventures. Following the verdict, Johnson surrendered to the government of the 190 dogs seized in this case. The government is pursuing forfeiture of these dogs. The U.S. Marshal Service cares for dogs seized in dogfighting cases through its asset forfeiture program. I didn't know that. U.S. Marshals, man, they take care of the dogs. So I hope they're doing well. I'm assuming there's no we don't have okay, here we go. Faces a maximum penalty of 5 years and a fine of up to $250,000 on each count, dude. I hope they give them the max, to be honest with you. The only kind of animal fighting that I've heard any argument for that might make any sense whatsoever would be roosters, cockfighting. Just because they're fighters by nature, and I guess in countries where cockfighting's illegal, apparently they treat those roosters like fucking kings, apparently. Plus they can't be around, obviously they can't be around other roosters because they just fight all the time. So they keep them isolated, and they get to have their little like chicken coop palace, and they feed them extremely well. And I mean, some places I'm sure they make some insane money off of them too. But anyway, I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying that of all the animals in the animal kingdom, when it comes to fighting or putting one-on-one up against each other for money, that's the only one that I've heard any kind of argument for. Because what do they do with roosters that hatch when they've already got one? Typically, they kill them, don't they? Like when they're babies. I think a lot of the male chickens, they end up getting just wiped out early on. Like in the hen raising process, you know how they get hens ready for egg laying. You know, they got to replace them. The same with poultry in general. That's actually a decent question, I think. Like, why don't we eat rooster meat? Maybe it's just too gamey. Maybe it's too tough. Maybe it just doesn't taste good. I don't know. All right, so let's move on from that and head down to Senator John Cornyn. China is limiting the flow of critical minerals to Western defense manufacturers, forcing them to scour the world for stockpiles of the minerals needed to make everything from bullets to jet fighters. I'm probably going to be paywalled because this is, I believe, the Wall Street Journal. We'll see if at least I can get a little bit of information out of it, but I don't know. I think I've been paywalled from them before. So China choking the supply of critical minerals to Western defense companies. Beijing's tightened controls are a sign of the leverage it has over the U.S. military supply chain. Yeah, dude, this is insane, man. This is what happens when you become reliant on another country in any way, shape, or form. Much less our freaking adversaries. Our government has failed us in almost every conceivable way. So China is limiting the flow of critical minerals to Western defense manufacturers, delaying production and forcing companies to scour the world for stockpiles of the minerals needed to make everything from bullets to jet fighters. Earlier this year, as U.S.-China trade tensions soared, Beijing tightened the controls it places on the exports of rare earths, while Beijing allowed them to start flowing after the Trump administration agreed in June to a series of trade concessions. China has maintained a lock on critical minerals for defense purposes. China supplies around 90% of the world's rare earths and dominates the production of many other critical minerals. As a result, the drone parts manufacturer that supplies the U.S. military was forced to delay orders by up to 2 months while it searched for a non-Chinese source of magnets, which are assembled from rare earths. Yeah, like China, they produce something like 99% of all the magnets in the world. Something like that. What do? I mean, Latin America, I'm sure Latin America has a lot of rare earth minerals. I know recently they announced that they were opening up a rare earth mineral mine. If I'm not mistaken, it was in Utah, I think it was. And it's like the first rare earth mine that's been open in 70 years inside the United States. I don't know why we just haven't been producing them from the get-go. Probably because of the stupid EPA and all the progressive leftists that have been controlling that agency for years and years. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's the global elites. They're trying to depower America, or whatever term you want to use for that. They are. They're just trying to liquefy American power and try to dissolve it around the world. And it sucks. It's bad. It's not going to be good for anybody. So anyway, it's not good. Hopefully we'll sort of start to somehow get ourselves off of Chinese dependency. Yep, I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for words. It's just one thing after the next when it comes to China. If COVID hadn't happened, I don't think there would be a lot of things that the American public would have realized that China has like a chokehold over. I mean, with our pharmaceuticals, it's not just our goods and our manufacturing. That's bad enough. But even when it comes to just like aluminum and just raw materials in general and plastics and fucking everything, man. Not literally everything. I mean, most of the stuff that we buy isn't directly from China, but way too much of it is. So this comes from Rep. Sharice Davids. My statement following last week's NTSB newsroom hearing on the tragic midair collision involving a flight from Kansas. This is the one where the helicopter in Washington, D.C. collided with that airliner, and it sadly took 65 lives down with it. Oh, my bad. Just smacked my microphone. So anyway, I'll go ahead and read this statement that she gave. Quote, I'm grateful to the National Transportation Safety Board for their thorough, transparent, and thoughtful work. Their diligence and professionalism reflect the seriousness of the midair collision that took 65 lives and the importance of ensuring our skies are safe for everyone, whether in commercial, general, or military aviation. While so many Kansas families connected to the aviation industry through jobs, training, and innovation, we know firsthand how vital air safety is to our economy and our communities. I look forward to reviewing the findings and recommendations that come from this hearing and will continue working with both parties in Congress to support aviation safety and oversight. So yeah, it happened last week, the hearing did. She doesn't say if it was a conclusive hearing or if it's an ongoing hearing. She doesn't specify that exactly, but I'm sure that either she will or I'll see it somewhere in the feed in the coming days if they do conclude that and give us their final findings. But yeah, man, that was a tragedy nevertheless. So All right, so from Dr. Neil Dunn, funding secured. You can see the check mark, and that proves that it's secured. That's ironclad, buddy. All right, my office has secured $4.2 million for a hypersonic test facility at Florida State University in the House Commerce, Justice, and Science Appropriations Bill. FSU is a hub for research and innovation. This new facility will be transformative. The next step is to pass this bill on the House floor when the House returns in September. So I'm assuming they'll probably pass it. We do have a Republican majority in both the House and the Senate in Florida. We have for quite some time, I believe. So I'm sure that'll probably get passed. So that's good news, I guess. All right. Brian Babin, yesterday in Brazil, crazy news. Millions of citizens took to the streets to protest against the tyranny of the judiciary and in favor of freedom. The U.S. sanctions against members of Brazil's Supreme Court who are acting against the Brazilian Constitution. They sparked the entire population to mobilize without any political leadership. Thank you, President Trump. The people want to restore democracy and freedom in Brazil, and our prayers are that they succeed. The power of a nation comes from its people. Amen. Yeah, let that be an important lesson, not just to Brazil, but throughout all of South America. They should have taken lessons from Venezuela. You don't want to vote in a left-wing government in the 21st century. You really don't want to do that. Probably not ever, for that matter. I'm sure in the 20th century it was probably also a bad idea. Yeah, man, look at Venezuela if you need an example to look at. Obviously, Democrats, they have no idea what Venezuela even is, because if they did, they might be thinking twice about some of these idiotic policies that they're trying to stand behind, or they do stand behind. All right, so from Ted Cruz, the people of California won't be subjected to a Kamala Harris gubernatorial bid. Instead, Kamala is trying to sell a book on Colbert. I know it's Stephen Colbert, and I know it's Kamala. I'm just... whatever. I don't care for him too much, clearly. All right, so anyway, we break down this pitiful display on Verdict. So will this play? That's the question. Well, that's attached here. Well, this probably won't. I don't have an iPhone. I don't have anything Apple. Never have. Never will. Actually, I take that back. I did have an iPod that I bought off eBay back in 2008. It was a first gen. Wish I still had it. All right, well, yeah, it opens, probably plays, but I'm not going to listen to that whole thing. We'll just take the clip that's on X, but I'll link it. As I said, I'll link it. It'll be down there if you want to check it out. So here we go. Only 26 seconds. Not bad.
We're also going to tell you about Kamala
God.
Harris.
Holy shit, that was loud.
She was not kidnapped by space aliens.
I'm sorry.
She did not go into witness protection. She did the next best thing, which is she went on Stephen Colbert's show. And for people watching her, they found out that Kamala has a new book.
I think a lot of people actually do watch Stephen Colbert.
The people of California, she's not going to subject herself on them by running for governor. Instead, she's trying to sell a book. And of course, she's with Colbert.
That's what the Democrats do.
Tell you just how pitiful that was.
That's what they do, man. They sell books. When they get out, they sell books. And of course, the New York Times, no matter how poorly the book will perform, it will be put on the top of the New York Times bestseller list, as they always do, or they seemingly always do. All right, so from Senator John Husted, it's good for young people to work, for them to have constructive things to do with their lives. Working helps everyone earn, save, and make their version of the American dream come true. Amen. All right, so from Senator Jeanne Shaheen, good news, the Senate unanimously passed my bipartisan resolution to designate Thursday, August 21st as National Fentanyl Prevention and Awareness Day. It's important that we continue to draw attention to this crisis as we work on solutions that will save lives. That's a very uphill battle. It's very difficult. Even with this recent flood of this 7-OH substance that's hit the market. I believe they said that it came out around 2023 was when it started to spread everywhere. But apparently that substance is in smoke shops, gas stations, vape stores, the typical places that you might find like THC gummies and stuff like that. And they're working to ban it. I think they're going to. The HHS and the FDA, they came out last week and they gave a statement to that effect that they're moving it over to the DEA to get it scheduled, or at least recommend that be scheduled. So, which is, they're describing it as an opiate. I mean, they would know better than I. But yeah, apparently it's legal. And apparently it's on the level of like heroin or morphine or some shit like that. So yeah, man, this whole fentanyl thing, the opioid crisis, it just keeps going on and on, man. Like it started really with the whole heroin situation, really, from the Vietnam era. And then it probably died down in like the 80s when cocaine just like dropped on like a freaking nuclear bomb on America in the 80s. And then I don't think it really probably took off till probably the OxyContin debacle that the pharmaceutical companies were peddling back in the early 2000s, maybe the late 90s. We're trying to say that it wasn't addictive. Are you fucking kidding? That was absolutely psychotic. I mean, what opiate is not addicting or addictive? And then after that, the pill mill crisis. I know that was a big problem here in Florida. And then they finally shut all that down, closed all those loopholes up. And then now we got the fentanyl issue that came up after that. And now we've got this 7-OH stuff. And it just makes you wonder, what's next? They just keep coming out with something, one thing after the next. It's just, once they ban something, something else opens up. They're just kind of like playing hopscotch, or it's like jumping across a river with rocks or some shit. All right, so Rep. Wesley Hunt, his press office. ICE agent recruitment is higher than ever. 78,000 Americans have applied to become agents. ICE continues to build strength, so it may continue to push this administration's deportation mission. President Trump continues to fight for Americans.
Agents, $50,000 up front, very attractive packages to bring them in. How's that going?
Oh, it's going great, Martha. You know, we have almost 78,000 applicants since we opened up, and we're going through.
Wait a minute, 10,000? I read somewhere it was 50,000.
And really be in law enforcement. I think it's a great way to recruit now.
And that's not the number I read. I actually read 50,000 applicants.
Because they weren't allowed to do the law enforcement mission.
This says 10.
But we have so many people that are interested now in working with ICE, because now they're seeing.
Well, yeah, man, you're talking up to $110,000 in bonuses.
Viable law enforcement partner in the community. You are actually out there making a
go around
difference.
And arrest people.
So we're really ecstatic about seeing the increase in new recruits that are applying.
And, you know, so are most of these people, you said some of them are coming back into the force. How much training does someone need if they want to just start this from scratch?
So depending on which path they choose, whether a special agent with Homeland Security investigations or a deportation officer with ERO, it could be anywhere from 4 to 6 months. We're working right now with the Department of Defense to identify key members of the military that are separating, that are looking to get into law enforcement, working with veterans organizations.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We're also working with local and state police departments where, you know, like myself, I came from a local city police department because I wanted to work with ICE once I saw the great work that they were doing. So we're definitely recruiting some of the best, and we're really building up our ranks since we got...
Yeah, man, there you go. If you know anybody who's looking to get into law enforcement, ICE, they're recruiting. Especially if you want to get out beyond your local community, because who knows where they'll put you. I mean, they're all over the country right now, man. They're getting everybody out. All right, so from Rapid Response 47, Secretary LCD, that would be Secretary Lori Chavez. Let me just double check the name to make sure I got it. Day Rimmer. So she's the 30th U.S. Secretary of Labor. And she says, quote, I support, well, here, let me just play the video because that's exactly what she's going to quote.
I think Senator Blumenthal knows very well that the Labor Commissioner is independent of the Secretary of Labor, and the President absolutely has the right to determine who is going to be advising him, and I support the President's decision in this replacement. This is an important time in America's history, but the one thing we count on is accurate information. This is information that
Labor Secretary,
as we saw this last week. Of course, the President is going to take that into account when we've seen a pattern of revisions happening over the last few years that have been detrimental to and can be to the market. So Senator Blumenthal is incorrect in saying so. It is my job to support the President in this issue, and I do support him. We have to ensure for the American people that we can trust this data. It's influential. It changes markets. It changes investments. And the transparency that the President is asking for is important to the American economy.
I mean, I'm assuming maybe that's in reference to the jobs numbers keep getting revised. That might be the reason why they might be calling for that, because to be fair, in May, the jobs numbers that originally came out were near 100,000 new jobs added to the market. And then a month after that, they revised it down to like 17,000. And the same thing with June. They did the same thing with June. It was like 105 or 110,000 new jobs that were added. And then they revised it all the way down to like 20. So just wildly different numbers. So I'm assuming that's probably one of the complaints that Senator Blumenthal must be having. All right, let's go to the New York Post. Tulsi Gabbard explains why Russia must have thought Hillary Clinton, her win was inevitable. Check out the New York Post. We'll size this up a little bit. All right, here we go. So let's get rid of that. The Russians privately felt it was inevitable that Hillary Clinton would triumph in the 2016 election, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard said on Miranda Devine's Pod Force One podcast. Despite widespread narratives that Russia was in President Trump's corner, Moscow's objective was to sow chaos in the American political process and brace itself for a Clinton presidency, Gabbard claimed, citing the trove of intelligence documents her team has released. Quote, "It surprised me that all of these documents still existed, quite frankly," Gabbard said in an episode set for release on Wednesday. As we've learned in later documents that we've reviewed throughout the campaign, Russia believed that Hillary Clinton would win the election. They felt it was inevitable. Last month, Gabbard's team began disclosing a trove of documents that gave a behind-the-scenes look at the intelligence community's machinations. Anyway, during the 2016 election cycle regarding the probe of Russian interference. And there you have it. Quick, short, straight down to the point. There you go. New York Post. And I'm sure she's absolutely right. I mean, that's what the documents obviously indicated, that Russia was prepared for it because Russia, according to them, they had dirt on Hillary Clinton that they could have released just before the election, but they chose not to because they were so sure that she was going to win. They wanted to wait until after she was elected to start dropping dirt on her for some reason. I don't know why they would have waited till after, because either way, we would have been stuck with her for 4 years at a minimum. Anyway, Secretary of the Army, historic, hypersonic, and lethal. The U.S. Army's long-range hypersonic weapon deployed to Australia during Exercise Talisman Sabre in 2025. This deployment is a first outside the continental U.S. The third MDTF proved we can deploy lethal combat power anywhere. Strike fast, hit hard, and dominate. Hell yeah. And they go into detail. At least I thought they did. No, I don't want to click on that. I wanted to click on that. All right. Never mind. They're just indicating who's in the photo. So no article for that one. Just some badassness. A very cool photo down in Australia, laying down under. Yeah, they've had some crazy operations going on down there with all those the practices and the drills and everything they've been up to. They've been doing that for like a month or a couple of months. It's been going on for a while. Getting geared up for any kind of potential aggression that China might start dealing out in the coming years. Hopefully not. All right, so Senator Dave McCormick, with President Trump's support and the partnership between U.S. Steel and Nippon Steel, not only will 4,000 jobs in the Mon Valley be protected, we are going to see thousands of new direct and indirect jobs created. It was great to be at the historic Edgar Thomson Steelworks with Senator Fetterman and Secretary Turner to discuss how we can work together on this industrial revival and resulting need for more affordable housing in Western PA. Let me pull this out so we can get it all in view up here. It gets queued up. And go.
What's happening here in this part of Pennsylvania, and in Pennsylvania, is a revival.
Pennsylvania senators are getting a first-hand look at what the U.S. Steel deal with Nippon means for our region.
Nippon Steel promises to invest
It's a Japanese steel company, by the way, if you didn't know.
Valley facilities.
With President Trump's support,
I believe they purchased half, or just over half of U.S. Steel.
It's not going to protect the 4,000 jobs that are here. We're going to create thousands of new jobs.
McCormick took a tour of the facility with Housing and Urban Development Secretary Scott Turner. More investments and jobs means more affordable housing is needed.
We look forward to working with the city, working with the state to see how we can come in to provide and to build and form public-private partnerships to build housing, to create jobs, to build workforce.
This way of life now has been effectively guaranteed now for decades to come.
I can't tell you the sense of relief people have here. It's going to be great for our region. It's going to be great for America. It's going to be great for reindustrializing and giving us the steel we need.
There you have it. More steel. Build more steel. Produce more steel. We need steel. As much as we can get our hands on. All right, let's get this back up to size. Oh, no. I went way up. Uh-oh. Maybe not too far up. Maybe. All right. Back to where we should be. From the DoD Rapid Response, this was about 8 hours ago. The previous administration focused on gender identity and wokeness. They faced recruiting shortages. This administration is focused on the warrior ethos. That's why every branch has hit their recruiting goal at least 3 months early. Let's go, man. Hell yeah. I'm telling you, that wokeness shit, that DEI shit, and ESG and all that crap that they were peddling for the last few years, it was detrimental on pretty much everything. It wasn't good in almost any way at all. It only made things worse and worse. So from Secretary Kennedy, we spend more on healthcare than any nation on earth, yet we have the worst health outcomes. That's unacceptable. That's why I took this job, to break the system, empower patients, and make America healthy again. Here we go.
We pay 2 to 3 times more for health care than any of the European countries, and we have the worst health outcomes of any country in the world. We literally have the sickest population in the world. 8 out of every 10 American kids
it's appalling.
Cannot qualify for military service.
What?
Teenagers in America now have sperm
it,
counts that are 50% of what 65-year-old men have. They have testosterone levels that are half of what 65-year-old men have. And so this is existential for our country.
Yeah, it's insane. It is absolutely insane. Unbelievable. Good grief, man. Talk about a black pill. All right. But he's getting us back on track, though. Like he said, that's why he took the job. To try to get us back on track. And in track, we shall get back to, hopefully, or get back on, hopefully. From Secretary Linda McMahon. Congratulations, ED Undersecretary Kent, for the Department of Education Undersecretary. He was just confirmed. You will be an incredible asset to this team as we advance the president's vision to hold higher education institutions accountable and support post-secondary students, faculty, and staff. Way to go. We got another one confirmed. I'm sure there's still plenty more to go, but they're still rolling them out. They're confirming more and more of them. I've personally met with Drew. Oh, this is from Kelly Loeffler. I've personally met with Drew and dozens of small manufacturers like him who tell me that President Trump's fair trade agenda will be transformative for their industries. It means more domestic jobs, less reliance on foreign adversaries, and a safer, stronger America.
How do you see all of this playing out with the trade deals happening with the tariffs?
So we're very excited, very optimistic about the future. This is going to be a great time for American factory workers.
Steel.
What's happening is that we're having an opportunity with the new policies for factories in Germany, factory owners in Japan and England. They're saying, you know what, we got to rethink this. We have high taxes where we are. We have very expensive energy where we are.
Oh, yeah.
And now when we ship to our biggest client in the world, America, there's this new 15% tariff. So this is crazy. We're not going to build in Europe anymore. We're not going to build in Japan anymore. We're going to put that factory in America.
Amen.
And when they do that, they're going to hire local American workers. These factory workers are going to get job opportunities. And then the local box company is going to provide them boxes. The local pallet company is going to provide them pallets. Marlin Steel will make them baskets. It's going to be a fabulous time for American factory workers.
Are you sitting on the sidelines in terms of hiring?
No, we're hiring. We're very optimistic about the future. We're buying equipment. We're hiring talent. We have factories in Indiana, Michigan, and Baltimore.
Nice.
We're growing in each of the three, and we're leaning in. We're buying equipment. We're excited about the future. This is a reindustrialization of America. This is a fabulous, optimistic time. The media is missing it. The mainstream media is missing what's happening. It's such an optimistic, good time for a factory worker. And these are good jobs. I mean, the average American factory worker is paid over $80,000 a year. They have fabulous benefits. We're talking about health care. We're talking about 401k. These are great jobs. We need more of these jobs in our country. And what's going to happen is all these companies from overseas are going to start building in our nation, building here rather than dumping into our country.
And just quickly, I want to show our viewers, really, as we look at the Mexico and Canada possible deals out there, you can see Mexico exports to U.S. as percentage of their GDP, 27%, Canada almost 20% at 18.5%. You say that matters.
That matters a lot because Mexico and Canada overall are a very small part of our export market, but it's critical to their countries. So I think President Trump has got a great opportunity to get fabulous deals with Canada and Mexico, as well as he's already done in Japan and Europe and all these other countries.
Canada, I don't think they really want to play ball, though.
Opportunity for the American factory worker to make things in America and then we ship overseas, as opposed to how it used to be where they would dump into our country.
Drew Greenblatt, CEO and founder of Marlin Steel, it was great to get your insight.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how things look. It's still a little early, I think, but we'll just have to see how the next couple of years plays out. How much manufacturing is really going to end up returning back to America. Let's hope as much as humanly possible, hopefully all of it. I doubt it, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So from Rapid Response 47, this is on Donald J. Trump's Truth Social account. India is not buying massive amounts. Hold on, let me start over. India is not only buying massive amounts of Russian oil, they are then, for much of the oil purchased, selling it on the open market for big profits. They don't care how many people in Ukraine are being killed by the Russian war machine. Because of this, I will be substantially raising the tariff paid by India to the USA. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. Oh, man, that's getting spicy. That's the world's most populated country. That's going to be pretty heavy. Hopefully that doesn't cause too much of a negative effect on us in the short term. I'm imagining that over the long term, the tariffs, it's overall just going to be better for the economy as a whole. I'm still curious as to know exactly where all of the tariff money is going to wind up. Is it going to be used to pay down the deficit? Hopefully the federal government just doesn't gobble it up and decide to allocate it toward more spending, for F's sakes. All right, so CBP, Office of Trade, effective on August the 6th, CBP is implementing a 40% tariffs on goods of Brazil, from Brazil, maybe. This tariff is in addition to existing reciprocal tariffs and other duties. Certain exemptions apply. We'll have a quick look at this. Quick and brief look at this. Cargo Systems Messaging Service. Uh-oh. What? What's this all about? Let me zoom out on that. Let's see. Recent messages. Here we go. That says August 7th, though. Reciprocal tariff updates. Is that for Brazil? Reciprocal tariff for goods of the European Union. All right. I don't know. Doesn't look like we might not end up getting the nitty-gritty details on that. Recent CSMS messages. I don't really want to register for that. Yeah, see, these are going back into July. That's a lot of messages. A lot of updates from U.S. Customs and Border Protection. All right, let's move on. That's a heavy tariff for Brazil. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. This is fear-mongering at its finest from The Guardian. ICE is targeting illegal aliens, not law-abiding citizens, obviously. And their headline reads, "People are scared to go out. Fear of ICE agents forces cancellation of U.S. summer festivals. Some organizers say they're trying to be safe in the face of immigration raid fears, but some have found inventive ways to fight back." Now, to be fair, they don't say citizens are scared to go out, but we all know what they're implying. They're trying to make it sound like that everyday Americans are scared to go out because they're worried about getting kidnapped. Oh my God, the horror. It's just brain dead retardation, as usual, which is, again, why Democrats are at a 19% approval rating, probably even lower than that. And any leading Democrat that is considered a leader of sorts, the front runners of the Democratic Party right now, if you take like the top however many that you could perhaps peg as running for the president of the United States in 2028, for example, not a single one of them have over a 25% approval rating, not one. And that's the lowest that it's been in decades. Pretty wild, man. They're absolutely in shambles, but that's all by their own doing. All they have to do is just play ball and just do what the American people want them to do. It's not that hard. I mean, 79% of people, they favor mass deportations. So anyway, from the GOP, Zohran Mamdani's record is crystal clear. He wants to defund the police. This is the dude that's running for mayor in New York City. So let's check this out.
I am not defunding the police.
Mamdani called to defund the police in 2020 and said that the NYPD was, quote, racist, anti-queer, and a major threat to public safety.
But some of his other positions
checking all the boxes in.
Defund the police.
Are you for defunding the police?
Hold on, let me go back to that. Mamdani controversial positions: defund the police, abolish, look at that, abolish the prison system, prohibit state-operated hospitals from suing for medical debt, universal health care, ban all guns, decriminalize sex work, safe injection sites, in cash bail, decriminalize all drug possession in cooperation with ICE. I mean, like, they literally just want to just railroad our country into just absolute, like, just chaotic, chaotic apocalyptic situation. It's not good.
Police.
Definitely a lot more harm than benefit. That's for damn sure.
Out of that budget. I'm running for state assembly because it's time to make Albany accountable to us.
It's time to destroy New York.
The power and the presence of the police.
Why
damn
are
it
we
all.
Spending as a city almost $6
Nihilism
billion
will reign
on the
supreme.
NYPD?
I would say is when we cut $3 billion or however much we can get cut, whether it's more, I'm not running to defund the police.
I mean, what the hell is it? I don't even know, like, what background he's got or anything like that. I mean, I don't live in New York City, so I really honestly don't really care. You know what? There are some comments here. I'll check out a few of the comments. I am a radical Islamic terrorist, and I will destroy America. Okay. Not my words. NYC is so screwed. You are the most corrupt individuals in our government. Every single one of you is complicit in what's happening. Refusing to release Epstein files. Uh-oh. Dismantling our federal government. Why did that get a blue check? Pledging allegiance to Israel over American citizens. Allowing Trump to enact tariffs, which are strategically designed to crash the economy. No, if you read a history book, you would realize that tariffs actually were extremely beneficial, and we didn't have to pay taxes back then because the federal government took tariffs. So wouldn't that be nice, lady? Wouldn't that be nice if we looked 10, 15 years into the future and the tariffs really had a long-term impact to the point where we could really start, like, cutting down large amounts of our taxes? Not that it would, because we have a $37 trillion bill that we have to somehow figure out a way to pay for. Which, by the way, every year it's costing us $920 billion in interest. That's per year, almost $1 trillion in interest that our federal government has to pay, which is something like 20% of the entire federal government's budget. And just interest. That's it, just interest. It's like a fucking credit card. Anyway, whatever. Deport Zohran Mamdani. At least he's not owned by a foreign country. For most of your politicians, I don't know what that's all about. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot more pushback against the GOP down there than I thought there would have been. But that's all right. Everybody's entitled to their own opinions. From the Bureau of Transportation Statistics, how is the U.S. vehicle market evolving? National Transportation Statistics, NTS, from BTS includes a key data set on new and used passenger car and light truck sales and leases. This data reveals trends in buying versus leasing, vehicle types and fuel efficiency, vital for policy, industry, and infrastructure planning. Explore the latest insights. Well, I can only imagine it. I don't know if maybe the word disastrous comes to mind. I know that vehicle sales are not doing very good right now. Of course, to be fair, it is summer, which is usually the slowest time of the year to buy and sell cars. No, I don't want to order anything. Let's see. Well, I thought it would have gone straight to motor vehicles. What the hell? Petroleum products. What? This looks misleading. Air carriers. Emissions. Wait, is it further down here maybe? Highway. Pipeline. Good grief, man. Did I just zoom right past it? Reviews. All right, hold on. Consumer. No. Maybe that's it. Revenues. Here we go. Revenue per passenger. No. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just have to play around with this on my own time. I thought it was just going to go to either an article or to a list of tables and graphs, but nope. It's not doing that. Transportation, the economy, maybe. No. Well, that sucks. Mode. Yeah, not seeing exactly what it was alluding to. Car fleets. Amtrak, locomotive, and car fleets. No, that's not going to be it at all. All right, whatever. Maybe it's up here in the menu somewhere. Topics, statistical products. Man, there's a lot of information on this website. Statistical products and data. All right. All right. Well, I'll leave it linked in the description if you want to check it out for yourself. First published in 1971, eh? All right. Well, we'll just move on down past it. There's no video clip or anything. That's what I was looking for. New passenger car. Let me just try that. I bet it's not going to work. Kinda. Transportation statistics annual report from last year. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it was referencing. But it's talking about Amtrak and shit. No, not all that. Come on, man. Oh, wait. Is this it? BTS.gov? Maybe that was... I thought that was an ad. My eyes just skipped right over it because I assumed that was just some, like, Google ad. Maybe this is it. Yeah, so this is retail new passenger car sales. Let's full screen this. As of 2021, why is it so out of date? So those are domestics versus imports. And thousands of units. So it's in the millions. So 6 million, 7 million. Man, it's gone down a lot. Gone down a lot. New passenger car sales. Probably because people are just hanging on to their used cars for a lot longer, which they are. They are. People are hanging on to their used cars way longer. The average age of a used car on the road in America currently in 2025 is 12 and a half years old. And moving upward toward 13 years old, which is the oldest average age of a car in the history of automobiles. All right, new and used passenger car and light truck sales and leases. So, yep, so that's as of 2024. New light truck sales is still on the increase, really? That surprises me because pickup trucks are expensive today. Look up a new Ram. Look up a new Ram pickup truck, 2500 or Super Duty or whatever. A lot of them will get up over $100,000 just for a freaking new truck, man. New passenger car sales have gone fairly down. They're still going down. Leases are on the up. New passenger car leases are sort of going up a little bit. New light truck sales. That I'm assuming that number probably also includes crossovers, SUVs, things of that nature. So maybe that's probably why it's gone up so substantially, because they're just not making sedans and coupes like they used to. Making a lot fewer of them than they once did. All right, so from Senator Tom Cotton, there is one party to blame for children who are malnourished in Gaza. It's Hamas. Hamas has used food as a weapon for years by commandeering aid and prioritizing their own fighters.
Mark, it's just another example of how Hamas can count on an international media and political chorus to do its dirty work for them. I don't think any decent person can see the heartbreaking images of malnourished children in Gaza and not feel badly about it. I feel that way, you do. Israelis feel that way. But there's one party to blame for any children who are malnourished in Gaza, and that's Hamas. Hamas for years has used food as a weapon. It commandeers aid, it prioritizes its own fighters, it uses it to control its own people.
I mean, they've been in control for like, what, 30 years?
Way too many people in the United States and in Europe who are buying this hook, line, and sinker, sometimes open propaganda. The New York Times, for instance, ran
well, they count on their readers to be relatively low IQ.
With a terrible disease and
or they've got TikTok brain.
Child who had been
can't focus for more than 5 seconds on anything.
Actions. Nothing could be farther from the truth. Israel has delivered hundreds of thousands of tons of supplies since the beginning of this war. Our great ambassador in Israel, Mike Huckabee, was just there last week with the president's envoy, Steve Witkoff.
Not me, anyway.
They saw the aid that could be delivered today if Hamas would allow it to be distributed. But Hamas's one of their chief arguments and points in the ceasefire negotiations is that only they and the Hamas-infiltrated UN organizations in Gaza should get to deliver food. No other party should be delivering food to the civilians in Gaza.
Yeah, it's not a good situation, and they're politicizing the hell out of it. I used to listen to Mark Levin at 9 p.m. on AM radio, like back in the 2000s when I used to work at night shifts. I used to listen to his show. I think it was at 9 o'clock. All right, so let's move on to the travel. State Department, Port-au-Prince, Tabara area, Haiti. There is heavy gunfire reported in the Tabara area near the U.S. Embassy. U.S. government personnel have paused all official movement outside the embassy compound. Avoid the area. Holy shit, man. It's getting heavy. It's getting crazy. All that Clinton Foundation money, I guess it didn't really go very far now, did it? Let's see. Heavy gunfire. U.S. government paused all official movement. Avoid the area. Assistance. All right. Just the basic pedigree information. Phone numbers, contact info. Website. Haiti U.S. Embassy website. I'm assuming they probably have an alert on here. U.S. relations with Haiti. Nah, it's just... All right, hold on. Haiti security alert. Here we go. It just takes me to the same place. Of course it does. Duh. All right, so I guess the Haiti news for the day is don't go to Haiti right now. Not if you're an American. Let's see if there's any comment on this or if it was just a bunch of arguing. And yet we will force innocent people who came here for asylum to return to their violence-ravaged homeland. Shame on the United States government. Look, it's not good either way, but you got to come in legally. And if where they're living in Haiti, if it is truly war-torn by the gangs and the thugs and all that, and if their lives are being legitimately threatened, then apply for asylum. That's what you do. That's what you're supposed to do. And if you applied for asylum and you're from Haiti and you're granted asylum, you're good. That's what you're supposed to do. I wonder who are the culprits involved. Stay safe out there. And whatnot. Oh, whatever, dude. Spam. Spammy, spam. All right, so from the FTC, scammers are using fake websites in a twist on jury duty scams. So y'all got to watch out for this. So this is from consumer.ftc.gov. If you're getting any jury duty information, you got a BOLO. Gotta watch out for it. Not saying you should ignore it. Not saying you should ignore jury duty notices. Just saying that scammers, they're still pretending to be the police. Let's make this a little smaller. Let's see. Calling to say you've missed jury duty and you need to pay for it. But in a new twist, some scammers are now telling you to visit a website to enter your personal information so they can steal it and your money. It starts with a call that sounds like it's from an officer in your local police department, but it's not. They claim you missed jury duty, which you probably didn't, and will be arrested unless you visit a website to pay a fine. Still no. No, you don't get arrested for missing jury duty. You'll get a fine. You might get a fine, which is probably what they're trying to capitalize on. But yeah, so they send you to a site that looks legitimate with an official sounding URL and government looking seals. They're all fake. It'll ask you to enter your birth date, social, to look up how much you owe. It might ask you to pay up to 10 grand in fines. Damn. Or they'll send you to a government kiosk, doesn't exist, to pay or pay by cryptocurrency, which is even more insane. I mean, the government's not going to try to urge you to pay in fucking crypto and like Bitcoin. But every bit of it is a scam. So just so you know, the real law enforcement officers, they will not call you to say that you'll be arrested. They won't threaten to arrest you. Scammers will say you can only pay with cash, especially gift cards. That's one of the oldest scams in the book, that they try to get you to go to CVS or Walmart or whatever and get a Google Play card. Payment app, crypto, wire transfer service. If you get a call like this, hang up on them and then get a hold of the FTC. Reportfraud.ftc.gov. All right, next one. U.S. Embassy France. On July 18th, Secretary Rubio announced the historic release of 10 Americans that were detained in Venezuela. I remember that. Y'all remember that? They were on that private plane holding the American flag, celebrating, recognizing the efforts of POTUS and state, the special presidential envoy for hostage affairs at the State Department, and El Salvador's Nayib Bukele. On August 1st, Mission France became the first U.S. embassy to raise the hostage and wrongfully detained flag, joined by Lucas Hunter, a French-American who was among those released, and his family. That's cool. There you go. There's the flag. And then that is France, apparently. So there you have it. All right. From the Department of Defense, here we go. Happy 235th birthday to the U.S. Coast Guard. Since 1790, they've safeguarded our waters, saved countless lives, and defended our shores. Semper Paratus. I apologize. I'm not good with Latin. I don't know Latin, but anyway, it isn't just a motto. It's a legacy. Thank you for 235 years of unwavering service. Congratulations to the Coast Guard and anyone who serves or did serve with the Coast Guard at any given time. That's very cool. And heading down to Homeland Security, this is fake news. There is no hunger strike at Alligator Alcatraz, in case you've seen this in the news. These fake allegations about detention facilities vilify our brave law enforcement, ICE law enforcement, who were already facing an 830% increase in assaults against them. Brain dead psychos, man. People just assaulting federal officers. It's mind-blowing, man. These people have absolutely lost their ever-loving minds. It kind of reminds me of like the Dark Knight, how the Joker's just making recruits. It's like the Democrats is like the Joker. Like they're taking a page out of the Dark Knight's playbook. They prey on the mentally weak or the mentally ill. Yeah, there you go. Mentally ill. I was trying to figure out how to phrase mental illness, but yeah, mentally ill. Anyway, so yeah, it says detainees at Alligator Alcatraz on hunger strike over conditions for nearly 2 weeks. And according to Homeland Security, they're saying it's absolutely fake news. It's not real at all. So, I mean, I'm not saying you should blindly trust the government no matter what. There might be one person in there. There might be a couple people in there that are refusing to eat because they're all pissed off that they got apprehended. But as far as like a full-on hunger strike, according to them, that ain't happening. So from Federal Highway Administration, the reconstruction of the Interstate 40 continues into the next phase with new permits given to North Carolina Department of Transportation to extract rock for the project. North Carolina is building again with the full support of the federal government after the devastating washout from Hurricane Helene. And that affected me directly, not the North Carolina aspect, but we were hit directly by Hurricane Helene here in Tampa Bay. I live in St. Pete, and I had a tree that came down in my backyard. It wasn't a big tree. It was a little tree. The tree itself is only like about 3 years old, but it was already about 20 feet high, maybe 22 feet high. So it was providing a good amount of shade. It's a very fast growing tree. There's like four other trees just like that in my backyard. Grew really fast, and then Helene split it in half because it was a tree that had the trunk, and then it forked into two main branches. It split in half, and then the other half came down in that storm. So that sucked. But anyway, this is good news. North Carolina DOT, they're rebuilding. Did you even know that I-40 took that big of a fucking hit? That's absolutely nuts, man. So that river must have just crested like way up, probably damn near, if not up to the interstate. And then it at least it appears that it washed it out. It just took it all out. Because that looks like, it looks like it's only going one lane each way, which is absolutely wild for an interstate. interstate highway only being one lane each way. That's nuts. So yeah, they go into the permits and everything, Army Corps of Engineers and all that good stuff. So if you're interested in reading it, just scroll down into the description. It'll be down there. Just look for NCDOT in it, in the link, because I just put all the links down. I just copy paste the links real quick because I try to get this video out as soon as I can. All right, so for the next one, CBP. The CBP Office of Trade, effective on August the 1st, so this is already in effect, CBP is implementing a 35% tariff on Canadian goods that were previously subjected to a 25%. USMCA goods are excluded, and illegally transshipped goods will be subjected to a 40% tariff rate. Learn more right here at go.dhs.gov, and I will obviously put that down in the description as well. Let's see, USMCA goods. Curious to know what that pertains to. CUSMA. Isn't that U.S. Mexico Canadian Agreement? Isn't that what that stood for? I think that's what that stands for, if I'm not mistaken. All right, let's head back and let's go. Oh, there is no more. That's the last one. I thought there were a couple more after that, but nope, that's the last one I got. Oh, wait, nope, maybe not. Oh, yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I had one more, at least one more. My bad. So this is from FBI Director Kash Patel. The FBI took a historic step this week by opening a new law enforcement attaché office in Wellington, New Zealand. The FBI has over 60 such offices around the world to work with partners, building intelligence networks, and confronting growing threats, but this is the first new office to open in decades, and it's with a critical Five Eyes partner in New Zealand. New Zealand and America, countering the CCP and the Indo-PACOM, PACOM theater, crushing the narcotics trade, working together against cyber intrusions and ransomware operations, and most importantly, protecting our respective countries' citizens. Thank you to America's great partners in New Zealand for your commitment to security and national defense. That's wild. So we got the FBI in New Zealand now. It's crazy. I know New Zealand, they've got a big meth problem going on there. Apparently it's a very big problem. All right, and it looks like we're going to finish up here with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. ICE officers allowed the media to record and ask questions as we arrested multiple criminal illegal aliens in Wyoming. I've not seen them actually do this, so we'll check this out. This is over on YouTube. Let's take a look at this.
Everybody knows the deal going to Jackson.
They're all blurred out.
A couple bottleneck areas. Everybody stay close. 2-man cars, doubling up today. Make sure you stay in communication with me. Their director will be monitoring the radio at all times. So let's be professional, be safe. If you need assistance, call it out. Make sure that each address that you go to, you're texting that in the signal. The AFOD will then communicate that to dispatch, so dispatch will know where we're at.
So the reason we're doing this operation is we have no current office here, so we come out to Jackson pretty regular, a couple times a year to make these arrests.
Out there.
Okay. So international travel from U.S. to Romania 2018, 2020 travel between Mexico City and Romania 2025 in custody for DUI. I would assume he came in illegally. Yeah. There's a very large population of Romanians.
Wow, look at that, man.
Here in Jackson, yeah.
That's a cool little town.
What you doing here?
Drinking in Jackson and having a good time.
Drinking, having a good time.
No, we'll be.
A lurk.
We're gonna probably wait for him to come out.
Come on. Can I let my?
We'll give you a phone call. We'll do it later. Okay.
There they go. They got him. It's too bad they didn't show us the apprehension process or the arrest part.
Have a seat.
We're gonna regroup at a rendezvous point just to belly chain and put leg irons on the person for the transport. The reason we do this is there's an 800% increase in assaults against law enforcement officers.
800 now?
Yep. 800 now. It was 400 last time. 800 now. So We'll do the belly chains and leg irons to restrict their movement while in transport.
Oh,
because
assaults
most
against
of
them from those
that
who they're
the
apprehending?
assaults that are happening against ICE officers
Wow.
are done during transport.
I thought it was just from
so we take no
the
chances.
brain-dead progressives
and we'll
that
do
were
the belly
attacking them.
chains and leg irons during transport.
You'll find me a cover for this morning, please. I cannot go forward. So I'll explain to you later, okay? I'll be home soon, okay?
Are you seeing this, progressive? They're even letting him use the phone.
I think we could probably hold on to this guy for a while. If not, then
They didn't have to do that, but they were nice enough to do so.
Do a meet and greet somewhere?
somewhere.
Contrary to what you might believe from Hollywood, you actually are not entitled to a phone call when you're under arrest.
All right. So remember, when we arrest someone, they're entitled to due process, and they'll go before an immigration judge. Many times an immigration judge will grant their release on bond, their release from immigration custody. So they'll post a bond, the alien will post a bond, essentially a promise that they'll appear in immigration court, and they'll be at large in the community while they're on bond. And many times we'll also place those individuals on ankle bracelets, on GPS trackers, so we can monitor
Yeah, I'm sure that's cheap.
Monitor them while they're out on bond.
I mean, it's necessary because most of them don't show up.
Yeah, she was going inside when we came back.
360 or 348 on the marker for the address on the house.
Oh.
So we're gonna go knocking anyways.
Okay. So it potentially may not be the right address, or we may have a different address for our target. So we're gonna do a knock and talk to determine if in fact our target does live here or not. If ever is inside that home, now he knows that we're after him. So he knows that we know his cars. He knows where we live. He knows that
did they
we
answer
know
the door?
where he lives.
I don't know.
So chances are he will be moving. We conducted a few consensual encounters for some other aliens that we were looking for, and we weren't able to locate a couple of those individuals. But we're undeterred. We're going to keep looking for the bad guys. These are aliens that present a danger to the community. They have serious criminal convictions. So we're going to continue looking for these individuals, and we're going to be in the community searching for these people.
All right, good. Round them up. Get them out. Get them all out. All the bad guys. Little by little. That way our rents will finally start to come down. That would be nice. So anyway, that's all I got for this evening. So until tomorrow, thank you very much for watching, and please like and subscribe if you have a chance to do so. And if you leave a comment, I'll check out the comments and I just might read it on tomorrow's episode. So until then, thanks a lot for watching, and God bless America.